and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 325 for the week of September 19th, 2017. I almost said November. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
Toby.
And Charlie.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Howdy.
I'm going to turn this volume up just a little bit.
Why not?
I think, is that good? That sounds good. Okay. What's happening, guys?
Not too much.
We're sitting here talking into microphones again.
We're recording a podcast. In case you guys didn't know, podcasts are good fun, and we're going to talk about some stuff right now. Toby, Charlie, I need you guys to lead us off. Because you're man babies.
Why am I not included in this?
You're not a
I
man
have
baby.
kids?
Yeah, exactly. Well, but you're not a man baby. Well, I mean, we'll talk about that some other time.
Well, I don't want to punch you.
So, when we were all growing up, there was a wonderful, wonderful, magical place that we would all go.
It was actually quite magical, I will agree.
It was.
Yeah, the one here in Sunnyvale was haunted.
See, you spoiled it,
Way
Brock.
to fucking spoil it, Brock. Thanks.
There's a magical
there was
place.
a setup happening here.
Yeah, it's
you
all
just
right.
fucked it all up.
It's fine.
Good.
It's fine. Where you could talk to giraffes and get money and play video games and you get
How did
the
you
little
get
Toys
money?
R Us money. You see like the little Toys R Us bucks or whatever.
I
Then
don't
they
have that.
Anyway, Toys R Us.
For me, Toys R Us is this magical place where on the way to school, on the bus, I would see it go by every time. And one time, I got out of school early, and I didn't bother telling Mom. So I was like, that was my opportunity to get off that bus stop to check out this magical place that I just saw at giant Toys R Us written on the side. And, I walked in and go, holy shit, I didn't know a toy store could be that big. And I saw a Gambit figure. Like, that's when the X-Men 90s toys were just coming out. And I'm like, I'm saving for that. And I'm saving for a Land Before Time VHS and File Part 2. And then months later, I had enough money, and I went back and bought those three things.
Oh, wait.
I'm surprised they were still there.
Oh, well, this was when I was like 8.
Yeah,
or
if you
9.
grew up in the 80s and 90s, I don't know how much in the 2000s.
Yeah,
it
it wasn't toy hunting happening then. It
Right,
was
it's
a
very
real
different.
toy store
Yeah,
Right.
it was real
where you
stuff.
could eye something out and then actually go home and save up your
And they would
trash
have
money.
it, yeah.
And eventually go back. And I actually bought the Fable for my sister as a birthday gift and then the two things for myself.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah.
the name of that one was Five Goes West.
Yeah, Toys R Us is, for everyone kind of, roughly our age, it was this magical place as a kid that has now been completely deemed unnecessary due to the internet and scalping and
Scalping fucked a lot of shit.
and a huge push away in the last decade from what made Toys R Us to us. And they've shifted heavily into the Babies R Us stuff. They've always had the other things.
They've always sort of kept the Babies R Us stuff separate. Like,
Right.
it's either its
Well, I thought
own
they
store
combined them all
or
now.
they kind of
they go
like
back?
half
They did.
stored.
Yeah. But the reason we're talking about Toys R Us is because after a number of kind of rough years, Toys R Us has actually filed for bankruptcy. So they borrowed $2 billion to start paying suppliers back, and they can try to restock through Christmas.
Well, from what I understand, they're borrowing the money specifically because suppliers won't ship them product anymore.
Right. So they're
So-
buying this to pay for the product to continue
have
to
for Christmas.
get new product through Christmas, and then I would assume January Toys R Us is going to announce they're going to close half their stores and lay off half their
You
workforce.
better run in with those gift receipts.
1,600 stores of 64,000 employees. Largest,
I mean,
biggest U.S.
the
toy store, obviously.
The article I read was a lot of their plans is to kind of revamp around.
Fidget spinners. Oh,
Well, no, but the whole idea of right now they occasionally have like the Lego events or whatnot
Yeah.
where people can go there, but they're looking to move more into that product demos and that kind of stuff more than just a traditional brick and mortar space. Sort of similar to the transition that a lot of gaming stores went to,
Yeah.
where they don't just sell the board games. Now they have tables for people to play on. And
well, I don't know what Toys R Us does in 2017 to capture that spirit, or if it's just another big box store that's not going to be able to keep up with the times due to rising rent and rising employee costs. We've already seen action figures go to $25-$30 for a lot of traditional action figures that back when we were kids would have been $3.99, right? I mean, we're talking a tenfold price increase.
I can never tell how much of that price increase is absolutely necessary because you still see a fair amount of like larger size figures that are
Cheap.
like the Usagi that I got not too long ago cost like $12.
Yeah.
And it was a 12-inch figure.
Right. Who knows, right? But every time I go in the Toys R Us, I feel like it just part of it's me just getting older, and I'm not really into toys as much as like you say Toby and Charlie. So I
Shame on you.
Well, I have a bunch.
Losing touch with yourself.
Okay, I have a shitload of toys.
Go find yourself again, Ryan Higgins.
I have a shitload of toys compared to most people on Earth, right? There's no doubt about this. I'm top 1% of toy owners in the world. That said, compared to real toy collectors, I have nothing, right? I'm just not a toy guy. Amiibo, on the other hand, if you count Amiibo as toys, they need to bring Amiibos back to Toys R Us as the exclusive ones and then make some money. But that wasn't it. I mean, Toys R Us is where I used to go to get all my action video games. That video game section they used to have at Toys R Us in the 80s was magic.
Yeah.
Yep. You'd walk down the aisle and get your little slip of
Get
paper.
the little slip. Yeah. And I
go
feel
up to the
like
counter and be like, I got money, bitch.
I
want this.
I don't know what a company like Toys R Us does in the modern day because video games, obviously, they're going to make some money off of it, but not very much. Action figures, the scalpers have ruined that. Anything left on the shelf is going to be bullshit, and who knows if kids want it. Who knows? I don't know how they sell. I have no clue.
So my biggest issue with Toys R Us, and this is the same thing you had with like KB Toys and that kind of stuff, is at some point you walk around and go,
I've seen this for 5 years.
97% of this stuff is stale that's been sitting on the shelf forever. Like,
how much of that is toy manufacturers? How much of that is just
it's just
the
that
company?
So
I don't know.
If you don't have a way to cycle through merchandise that isn't moving, like moving it to clearance sections regularly, so you can bring in stuff that will be fresh and move. You
but is there
eventually
enough?
End up with a store that's just filled with crap that doesn't sell.
But is there enough toys to make that happen? There's a lot of toys that are coming out constantly, but I feel like we've moved to such a specialty market.
Well, I think
away from the big box.
Another thing about Toys R Us
mass market toys
is, in the last 5 years, just the amount of sales and coupons and just things they were doing to get people to come into the store.
That's not new, though. I mean, that's every company.
It's every company, but Toys R Us had been doing it an excessive amount of it. And, it's when you're getting to that point to push product instead of like naturally just kind of clearancing out items that are aren't selling.
Yeah.
It's people just they'll wait for a bigger deal and pretty soon they'll.
But I don't feel like Toys R Us. That's not going to affect our demographic of people. That the sales stuff may hit like families where they could go in and grab some extra stuff. But I feel like. There is. It used to be the entirety of Toys R Us as a kid was something I was interested in. There was maybe the Barbie aisle I didn't care about, and maybe I didn't care about a new bike. But I felt like the majority of the store there was stuff I wanted. When I've walked into Toys R Us in the last decade, I kind of look around and.
Why, the little bike doesn't interest you anymore?
Well, it's
cool
it's
lightning
not that.
Paint and
it's not that.
Cool
it's
horn,
the streamers,
huh?
It's the pink streamers.
There's a lot of kind of other stuff that I feel like the adult collectors who were the kids who grew up on Toys R Us have little reason to go back except for very specific things. And I don't see the appeal of a lot of that product going to a lot of kids, so I'm not sure what they're selling.
They have a small area which tends to cater towards more like collectors, as you said,
right.
Like the Walking Dead figures and that kind of stuff. But then they still have aisles filled with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures and Ben 10 figures, and that's where I kind of see the problem. And this is a problem that sort of existed for a long time.
It's unsold.
Is you end up with those highly demand figures that scalpers come in and buy, and at some point, because most of the time the way the inventory at these places seem to work is we have 30 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures on the shelf. We don't order more because we have 30 on the shelf.
Right.
It doesn't matter that 10 of them are this figure, 10 of them are this figure, and 10 of them are this figure. It's we have 30 figures on the shelf.
Well, this is
because
the problem.
Of the assortments and all that.
Right. This is the problem with a lot of chain stores, and there's no one there to curate what they carry.
Yeah.
It's these big, we just got into Thor Marvel Select. We've been starting to carry some of the Marvel Select stuff again because Marvel Legends, because we're able to get them, I think, reasonably on time. Again, some of these have been out for a few weeks or maybe a month in stores, but we're able to get them. The price is reasonable. It used to be we get them like 6 months later, and it was awful. But so, there's going to be those peg warmers. There's going to be that stuff where you get a couple extras, and that's not going to sell. But I feel like there's still a chance for them to sell at a comic store, and especially here, we can again curate what we want to carry and purge that stuff, knowing that okay, I'm going to get like. Loki was one of the double ship figures in the movie Loki, and I don't expect we're going to sell too many of those. So I know we're going to get stuck with those Lokis, so I can clearance those out. There isn't like a place like Toys R Us isn't set up to look at it at a kind of a micro level on every store. It's they deal with just the corporation does it or they don't do it. So I just think, but this is the same problem Best Buy has, same problem
but that's
Sears
the same
has.
problem you have when you're running any of these kind of businesses where you equate stuff down to just we ship out this many boxes of product. We ship out that, like, if you don't have somebody curating the product and making sure that you're cycling through product, people stop looking at those products.
And I mean, also, you look at the generation of kids nowadays. I mean, what are they? They're more on iPads than they are playing out in the yard with toys or.
Yeah, but even then, when you start talking about that, like, Minecraft figures are huge.
Yeah.
Because kids got into Minecraft, so they want Minecraft merchandise. It's not that yes, you're right. It's not necessarily driven by He-Man figures and Thundercat figures and stuff like it was when I was a kid and G.I. Joe and all that. But it doesn't mean that kids don't have these are the things I'm looking to buy. And one of the things I find really sort of fascinating about this is a lot of the stuff that my kids want to buy is not necessarily like Minecraft is huge, obviously, but it didn't sort of start huge. It didn't start with a TV show behind it, a big marketing. Like, it got huge, and that's where people went, okay, we're going to license this to create this merchandise for it. Nowadays, that's sort of the typical thing. Like, you see all sorts of pop figures for various video game series that just took on a life of their own. They weren't
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
I don't get that at all.
It's not really something that I get.
That we're going to get, yeah. It's not aimed at us.
But it is one of those things where it's like, honestly, that seems to be stirring more interest than like the latest Ben 10 action figures. And
I didn't even know Ben 10 was still in the air. That's fucking incredible if that's still in the air.
It came back recently. They rebooted.
Yeah. Well, I think,
it's huge in South America.
Is it really? Mm-hmm. I think a place like Toys R Us, probably just like Best Buy and just like Sears and all these other places, if they were a quarter the size and carried 1/3 of the stuff, or 1/4 of the stuff, and they'd probably be a much better store. Right. They get too big for themselves, and
Well, your creation thing was a valid point, because even as a kid, or I would go in there and see new things. Like every time I walk in, right? Even as a young adult, like Best Buy, I would go in and see new things. And it wasn't until I saw things month after month, you start seeing me less. I go in a year later, I see the same thing.
Same crap, yeah.
I go into Fry's, I see the same $2 movies I've seen a year ago. That kind of defeats the purpose for me to go back in. I mean, that's what you do here. I mean, you curate the product.
You have to.
You shift them out. I mean, otherwise you become another comic book store I used to work for, too.
You'd be surprised what happens when you just move a figure to a different
all the time. Yeah, that's one of the things about retail. You just shift stuff around and people see it for the first time. It's incredible.
No, and while we all grew up as nerds, though, and while Toys R Us at one point was kind of a nerd mecca, though, I feel like a lot of the toys, so like Transformers, He-Man, and Thundercat, I count those stuff as nerd toys. I grew up with those, but those are just different kind of toys. I always say Lego is my favorite toy growing up, and Playmobil, and I had this toy train. It was from Japan, but there was like the wooden one was the equivalent one that they were playing in Europe with.
Brio?
No, it was a Japanese one. I think it was Tomy, but spelled differently. But it's the blue tracks and whatever, right? But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like either the interest in those toys are not as huge anymore. Because, I mean, even like a few years ago, I would walk around and occasionally keep an eye out. First of all, the Legos were always overpriced by $10-$20 for no reason. I mean, like overpriced as in legitimately over retail.
At Toys R Us.
Yeah,
Isn't Lego closing stores too?
No reasons at all.
Well, I don't know anything about Lego closing stores, but I feel like whenever I go into a Lego store, it's exactly what I think they should be. I mean, they may have overexpanded, which is one thing. But, but Lego is it's small, it's curated, it's
very curated.
Constantly getting new products.
Oh yeah, they ship things in and out.
Stuff out.
In fact, if you don't buy things as when you want them, you may not get them.
Right,
things retire. But
it's their own product, so I mean they have a little
but the same thing you buy at the Lego store should not cost $20 more at the Toys R Us.
Right.
It should not cost $20 more than at Target or wherever else they sell Lego. The same thing.
And I agree they started treating certain things as a premium there, but to me it's I agree prices should be at sort of a industry standard, and I mean keep in mind that I don't know that it's really over retail or if it's just Target always has stuff a little bit cheaper.
No, I'm saying like over Lego prices. Like it's like, hey, a video game is $59.99. I'm going to say, for example, it's not that what happened with video games, but when I walk into Toys R Us, it'll be $65.99.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
No real reason.
But
right?
I think in general, if you don't treat each individual store like its own entity that can order its own products, that has its own people managing
because you figure
certain
each region is slightly different.
Yeah, then you end up with this sort of more computerized system that doesn't do a very good job of curating and managing product and figuring out at what point do you need to purge certain products to make room for new products, and people stop going because, as you said, if you see the same thing time and time again, year after year, there's no reason to sort of walk through the aisles. You just go, I'm looking for X. You walk right over there. You see the same crap you've seen the last few times.
And the thing I'm looking for is not there, and I walk out.
The couple times I've been at a Walmart, I'll check out their video game section, and I expect it to be shitty, and it's shitty, and I'm like, okay, this is exactly what I expected. Toys R Us has a shockingly shitty video game section now, and you would figure
they did have Super Princess Peach for DS for the longest time while it was still out of print. While it was out of print, they still had it.
I was going to say, it's possible you may be able to find some random stuff because it feels like they don't get anything out of there.
Like back to Charlie's point about just not moving stuff around. Like my son got really into Imaginext when he was like 3. And so we would go to Target or Toys R Us and look at the Imaginext section, and nothing changed. Like you would go 6 months later, and there was no new Imaginext product. And if there was, it was just this one piece that it's like they have to be releasing some stuff. I mean, but of course,
the problem
that could be
is,
the manufacturer.
Again, they would get in a little bit of the new. Like I get the impression when a new product would come out, Toys R Us would get shipped X amount of boxes to each of the stores. They unpack them. It would be one of each of like the new pieces or the new duos. And once they sold out, they didn't necessarily restock that because their inventory would still, because the single figures would still go into the pegs with all the other single figures. They weren't doing a very good job of saying, oh, we sold this particular one, or we sold all the ones of this new set. We need to reorder that, or we should clearance out some of the ones we've been sitting on for the past 6 months and restock with the newer set so people can sort of sell through them.
And there's a really great thing about having a price gun that will put a sticker on there with a date on it.
But as I said, I think a lot of this is just things used to require people to look at the products more. It wasn't so computerized. They weren't so we order when the computer tells us to order and that kind of stuff. And
so there's the interesting article here. This is on Reuters. Says by 2022, the company plans to spend around $1 billion to transform its big box stores by adding event space, increasing staff and wages for in-store product demonstrations, and combining its flagship stores with Babies R Us, so it sounds like they are going to merge them all back. Says Toys R Us was not going to engage in an unrelenting race to the bottom by trying to slash prices to compete with Amazon, the only other company that sells more toys. And they're talking about the company offers something no one else can. It's a showroom for toys. And I mean, I actually agree with that 100%. I don't think that slashing prices and making your 2% profit is the way to go. I think that is how a lot of companies end up hurt because they can't operate on those profit margins. But in a case like Toby says, if they're charging over retail, that doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, I expect to go into a store and I see a Blu-ray and it's $24.99, and I look on Amazon and it's $19.99, and I'm like, whatever. I mean, it's in front of me, that's fine. But if it's $39.99, then I'm going to be like, well, why, right?
Yeah.
So, and I can't really speak to Lego because it was the one really exception to this, but I'm guessing it just has to do with the margins that they got on Lego merchandise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite possible to get the right prices. Yeah, no, I fully... Look, who knows what the story is behind, right? Bottom line is, I get a 20% off coupon for Lego product and go in there and go, wait a minute, that just brings it down to what I would have paid for it. So I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, Toys R Us, hopefully they can figure something out. I would hate to see it go away.
I'm still looking for a
Jeffrey
part-time
living
job.
on the street.
I'm still looking for a part-time job at Ours here, the
Haunted Toys R
Yes,
Us.
I told our good friend Miller, Chris Miller, that
one of our customers works there.
Yeah, I was like, if the ghost because he says the ghost has gone quiet over the last few years, and I was very bummed to hear that. And I told him if the ghost ever comes back, to let me know immediately because I will absolutely get a part-time job there.
They actually did a documentary on this one here.
They did multiple ones.
But they actually the layout of the store they changed specifically to combat the ghost sightings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you went there when it was the old layout.
Yeah,
and there was there was just a weird feeling in that store whenever you went.
That, man.
Yeah,
I should have worked in there.
Yeah, I remember not going for a while, and I went back when they completely remodeled it. I don't know if that's just this one or if they remodeled all of them, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, back to the rest. Yeah, I
hope they pull through, and I hope they can turn into something that will move, have products for this generation of kids, like we had. Not necessarily the same products, but
I like the idea of, I mean, again, it gets back to that sort of what I was saying about a lot of what happened with game stores and that kind of stuff. But I am hoping that by sort of embracing more of this isn't just about come walk through the store, grab the product off the shelf, but push more product demonstrations, push more Lego events, push more things to get people in the store, and then sort of
interacting with the things,
curate the products better and that kind of stuff. I do feel like they could turn some of that around and turn it into a store that kids just like going to again.
I want to say it even gotten darker over the years. It used to be like this bright, colorful place. I feel like they all kind of got dull over the years too.
Yeah, they picked like darker blues.
Well, some of it is just your kid, and you're like, "This is amazing," and you're like, "This, I'm cynical, and this is bad."
Yeah, it's like, "Fuck, it's Christmas. I'm gonna go to Toys R Us. Shoot me now."
Well, if you're not going to Toys R Us,
it is pretty bad during Toys R Us. Oh yeah, Christmas music. Charlie is not going.
If you're not going to Toys R Us, where you should go is your local comic book shop this Saturday.
Why?
To celebrate Harley Quinn Day. I'm sorry,
but she's only 25.
Batman Day.
Yeah. Taken over by Harley
Quinn.
Quinn.
Third year, I believe.
Yes, I think this is.
But a character that's only 25 is taking over.
Harley is taking over to celebrate her 25th anniversary. Hey, man, 25 years. That's a number of people celebrate.
I guess.
So there's going to be a bunch of, and we're going to have all this stuff as well. There is a bunch of free comics to give out. Mm-hmm. There is a Batman 2017 Special Edition #1, which is the first chapter of I Am Bane, the third volume of Batman. I believe it's issue. Is that 16? 15?
No. I Am Bane started like 13.
Okay. Tom King and David Finch, as well as an original 3-page Harley Quinn story by Amanda Conner, Jim Palmiotti, and Brett Belvins. There's the Harley Quinn Batman Day 2017 Special Edition, which is the first chapter of the Joker Loves Harley graphic novel, which is about to come out. And for kids, there's a DC Superhero Girl Batman Day 2017 Special Edition, which is a sneak preview of the upcoming all-ages original graphic novel Superhero Girls Out of the Bottle, which is the 4th volume, I believe.
No, it's the 5th.
Is 4 out already?
I think so.
I don't think it's only 3 so far. But it doesn't really matter. They're not really...
Yeah. They didn't start putting volume numbers on it till the 3rd one.
Yeah, I don't think 4 is that. I'm pretty sure. Oh, either way, Doesn't matter. It's called Out of the Bottle. So, yeah, some free comics all featuring Harley. Well, actually, yeah, does Iron Man actually feature Harley? I don't think it does. That's the Batman Day one. The other two feature Harley. We also have all sorts of...
Cover.
Yeah. The new covers on all these books. And there is a bunch of masks that they're giving out. There's some of the ones they've done prior, and there's also a Harley Quinn mask that were given out. So, guys, anyone that stops by could take one of those. Yeah, pretty fun. They did this a couple years ago. They had like some Batman capes. Last year's was pretty lame, but this year they got some good stuff. They're doing some signings. I think they team up with like Barnes and Noble and some other bigger chain stores to do some events, which is which is cool. But DC is doing a digital sale, and that should be through Comixology, through our Comixology store.
Yeah, it's already live.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just for the one day. No, it's up now?
Yeah.
Did it go up today? Yesterday?
I don't know. When I went to your digital storefront today, I saw a big Batman sale.
Okay. It must have gone up today then, because it wasn't up yesterday.
They'll probably do a one-day Harley sale on...
Let's see. So, starting September 12th. Wait, starting September 12th?
Yeah, because that's her birthday. Her birthday was the 11th. Because that wasn't...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. They had the Harley one on the 12th. Beginning the 19th, yes, that's today. They're doing a week-long sale, which is a ton of Batman stuff. So digital.comicsconspiracy.biz, big sale on Batman and Harley comics on there. And, hashtag Batman Day or hashtag Harley Quinn 25. If you come by, take some pictures, get some free comics, maybe buy some Batman comics.
Or Harley.
Well, we have
or
plenty.
Batman Pops and Batman...
We have Harley Pops.
We have lots of Batman stuff. If you like Batman, we've got a bookshelf alone of Batman products.
No, it's Harley Day. We need to focus.
Yes, there's also Harley.
Yeah, whatever.
And the good thing is most Harley books, Batman's also there too. So
she's constantly trying to make out with him.
Yeah. Now we're going to go into some spoiler territory here. This is going to be spoiler level 2 for this first story.
Oh God,
so
shut up with that spoiler garbage.
It's not 1. It's definitely not 3. But it's spoiler level 2. So you're
okay.
been warned.
We'll do our best to get it to level 3, just so he has to revise
Well,
it.
I unfortunately have not read the book, so I can't give you level 3 spoilers, but I can definitely give you level 2 spoilers here. So we're going to talk about Marvel Legacy, which is not out yet. It's out next week. But basically the cat's out of the bag. If you were waiting for the Fantastic Four to return, well, keep waiting, because I believe... Sorry, that's me. It's me shining my knuckles here. Shining my knuckles. Is that what you do? I don't know.
No, you brush your shoulders off.
Brush my
idiot.
shoulder. What's this? Brock's giving me a copy of Metal. Okay, we already talked about Metal. We talked about Metal 1. I don't need Metal 1. I need Metal 2. Jean Grey, the Phoenix, is returning. Well, I shouldn't say she returns in Legacy. That is not official. She returns in Legacy.
That's a spoiler.
But Jean Grey is coming back. Phoenix Resurrection is going to be...
No, you need to clarify. The present day...
The real...
Jean Grey is coming back.
The real adult Jean Grey Phoenix...
reincarnated.
Is coming back.
For how many times now?
This will be her... She's died twice, so this will be her... second time coming back. Matthew Rosenberg is writing the actual Phoenix Resurrection miniseries. I believe it's a miniseries. Doesn't actually say here. I believe it's a miniseries. It has to be a miniseries.
I would assume it would be a miniseries.
Yeah, with Lionel Yu doing the art. And, shitload of variant covers. And Phoenix variant covers throughout the month of December for Marvel. So look for that on our comicsconspiracy.biz pretty soon. We'll have that up for order.
So
But Phoenix Resurrection, the return of Jean Grey, launching in December. But, spoiler alert, she comes back in Marvel Legacy #1.
Yeah, the images that I saw online are really reminiscent of that Phoenix Malibu stuff. A miniseries that they the crossover they did with Malibu Comics.
Okay.
It looks like that. I was like, ooh, scary.
Well, all Phoenix stuff looks like... it's Phoenix. They all kind of look like Phoenix.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now, I have no... I have no knowledge of this, but with what they've done with Legacy, it feels odd to me that this X-Men relaunch came so, right prior to it. So I would assume the X-Men books may be getting a bit of a maybe name change and shuffle, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see come summertime.
Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah, come summertime, Uncanny X-Men, maybe some of those classic titles come back. For people that saw the December solicitations, whatever they had planned for the Champions to be an Iceman apparently is only 2 issues because it's already back to just being the normal Iceman comic. So I have to assume a few of those books are not going to be around too much longer. Although Toby, Generation X, I don't know if you saw the solicitations, they're bringing back all the actual original members of Generation X to the title. I don't know if they're taking it over or if it's just a temporary story, but hopefully they're coming back in some sort of permanent fashion here. So Jean Grey is coming back. When did Morrison kill her? A decade ago, right? At least 10 years ago.
Yeah. It's more than 10.
More than 10, yeah. Cause
it's got to be probably 15.
No, it wasn't on that long.
The Morrison stuff?
Yeah, what year was
2004
to 2000? 2001 to 2004, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Oh man, yeah. It's
because he killed her off in the middle of the run,
closer
right?
to 12 or 13. No, very end. No,
very
last
end?
issue.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
2004. So 13 years. Yeah, that's quite a while. That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, and I remember talking to you at the time, being like, she'll be back.
She'll be back. Yeah. Well, she's coming back, and let's God hope she.
No, there was so much enjoyment of the Emma Frost Scott relationship that they said, let's run with this for 13 years.
I mean, that's the best thing that happened to Scott Summers and probably Emma Frost ever. I mean, that the Scott Emma relationship was by far the best thing to come out of those X. Or not the best thing to come out of those X books, but the best thing that's happened to those characters.
Yeah,
that made those characters.
And that frees up Jean for Wolverine finally.
Yeah. They never, but then she died. So.
I mean, it redefined the X-Men sort of world immediately after that for pretty much until Scott died.
Yeah. I have to assume the kids are growing soon. They won't be around too much longer, and we'll get the original characters back. I mean, they'll hopefully by summer the real X-Men will be back. It very well they could be leaving the FF and X-Men to next year. They kind of do a bit of return to form of all the real characters today, and then next year, they do it this year, and then next year it's the FF, it's the X-Men, it's the stuff that's kind of
Yeah. Well, it falls in the category of okay, so sales are going to start slowing down here. Let's bump it up with this. That's the scary part.
Well, in that case, they would have this happening in November because I'm very. I just hear Bryce in my head. I'm very, very concerned about Legacy because
not the one shot.
Not the one shot. No. The ongoing titles. We've had very little interest in any of these books in an ongoing fashion. Almost no subscribers have asked to be added to them. I've asked people to, and only a couple have said they want to add a few of them back on. And then going through the November solicitations, but really the December that just hit today. There's very little in a lot of those books that are now going to be on their third month of Legacy for the October stuff, so October, November, December. There's very little reason I see to bump my numbers on any of these titles. A couple. Captain America, I think will pick up some steam, and the X-Men Blue and Gold have a chance, and there's a couple, but I'm ordering 2 copies of Gwenpool. I'm ordering like 58 copies of the Legacy issue, and then 2 copies of the next issue. The vast majority of these books, I see little to no reason to increase sales on. Now, it'll be a great October, but hopefully people actually buy the lenticulars. But they've got to ramp up these stories. I just don't know. I don't see having a Rebirth effect on these titles. I just don't.
Well, I think it's because it's with Rebirth. We did get some creative team shifts.
All of them, entirely, almost every book. Yeah,
and we got DC for at least most of the New 52. It had really kind of tried to have artists that worked on titles.
So
that.
I'm going to interrupt you just for a second because I did actually get to read. I didn't read start to finish, but I got to skim through and I read a couple of them. The first 2 weeks of all the Legacy titles, they're all up in the retailer form to read. I think if there was something to spoil, they probably would have been spoiled. A couple of them are cool. A couple of them look exactly like they do now, and a couple of them are like, well, okay, there's a chance here, but it just felt like the next issue of all these books.
Well, but that's the thing is like, I mean, like you said, a lot of people aren't adding these. They're not really talking about these, and I mean, Marvel has been stagnant for a long time with the creative talent that's been, that they've had.
Last 18 months have been pretty consistent, which is good.
Like
Except it's good if people are buying.
There's a lot of great talent over at Marvel, but it just doesn't seem to be clicking. Like the Generations Captain Marvel book. I read it. It looked like it didn't. The art didn't entice me anymore, and the story wasn't that good. So it just steamrolled for me to going, why would somebody buy this?
So my mentality on a lot of this is when you first had the Rebirth announcement, there was a lot of eye rolls and all that, but it kind of turned as we got closer to the event with a lot of the interviews coming out, a lot of you kind of had Jeff Johns getting out in front of it as a point person to sort of talk up and explain what they were trying to do, what they were trying to accomplish, and kind of getting a general buy-in amongst the community to say, okay, we're totally going to check this out, partly because we have this sort of stamp of approval on it that people felt like they could buy into. I don't really feel like Marvel's got anybody out in front of this. So
Alex Alonso and Tom Brevoort have been out doing interviews, but it's the people that don't like Marvel. They don't like Alex Alonso and Tom Brevoort. It's like they're not going to trust anything they say, and anything they say is the same double talk they've been saying for a decade now. So
I'm not sure who Marvel has. I mean, maybe Bendis, but like.
They don't have a creator that's out in front of this.
They don't have a creator who's out in front of this, which is what you really need. Mm-hmm. You can't have the full PR machine trying to push this. You need a creator talking about how they have this grand vision for what this means and how they...
You talked to Scott Snyder before Metal.
Oh, he is.
And like... And,
all over the place on Metal.
And the thing is like, if you follow him on Twitter... Right, he's normally answering questions and engaged, and talking to people.
He's been pushing the hell out of this book.
And the thing is, but like you go on and you look at like Dan Slott, or you look at Bendis, or you look at anybody else, and it's like there's nothing from Marvel.
No. Even Jason Aaron, who's writing the book, again, I follow all these guys on Twitter.
There's nothing.
They mention it, but it's like,
there's no. It's almost like as if it's
work.
It's work.
Yeah.
It's not.
No, it's absolutely. It's not a joke. It's work. Whatever Snyder's doing.
Snyder's putting some serious hours.
That's not easy work.
Oh
and,
no.
You have to remember he has to be happy and chipper the entire time.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Well, I loved him. I loved the fact that he called the store, but you could tell that he was like
tired. Yeah.
He was. Done. When he called us.
He had the same conversation
20 times
in a row, right? That's not easy work.
Oh
man.
No, but it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the sense you got when Jeff Johns was out promoting Rebirth. That's what you get from Snyder promoting Metal.
Yep.
Well, they also probably have a sense of entitlement too.
It's their thing, right? I mean, their ass is on the line.
Yeah, but which I think that might be missing what's over Marvel. They're not handing it something to someone, and they don't feel like it's their baby.
Yeah,
I mean, this is his baby, right?
Yeah.
Metal is his baby. The button stuff, Jeff Johns is baby, so to speak. Or what's it? Tim, the other writer. But I feel like Marvel people are just going through the motions.
A little bit.
Well, yeah, it's like because Jason Aaron's writing Star Wars. And,
not anymore.
No, well, yeah, but he was
Charles
writing.
Soules, yeah,
but he's writing Star Wars, and it's like it was. I mean, I've enjoyed it, but it's like there was nothing from him about it.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of creators will deal with social media a little differently, but there are lots of interviews with these people, and then they're talking it up, and they're having discussions. But it feels like it's the normal corporate.
It feels like corporate work
set up interviews
versus the other one where it's more like Scott or like Snyder just wants to talk about comics and he wants to talk about.
It doesn't feel natural.
Yeah, there was a point in time with Marvel, right before like Superior Spider-Man, where Dan Slott just went big in terms of talking about it, really promoting it, talking about how people need to order more, really pushing the fact, check out this issue, and that was all Slott really kind of pushing his labor of love in this new direction he was taking things in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to go back a couple of decades. I feel like Bendis with Ultimate Spider-Man was that time.
He was hand-selling the hell out of that thing.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, like, you know, and then you had Kevin Smith doing Daredevil. He was like the man.
Oh,
like,
he was chilling that thing left and right.
You know, he was the man. Yeah. I mean, I know I'm going back way.
No, but they're good examples.
But, you know, at that time, even Priest with Black Panther, he was like, you know, he took it. It was his baby at that point, right? So I feel like that's what's probably missing with Marvel right now. Either there's no free reign, or people don't think they have ownership over their stuff anymore. I don't know.
Well, so you know, if you look at X-Men Blue and Gold, right? If you remember kind of our discussion about it, I think we all kind of felt fairly similar. We're like, you know, this may not be the greatest comic ever, but it feels right. Mm-hmm. This feels like an X-Men comic. This isn't like an X-Men comic to be ashamed of. Mm-hmm. And I've been actually catching up on Blue. I fell a little bit behind, and I'm still enjoying Blue for better than the previous volume. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, but I still like Astonishing and Gold a lot better.
Astonishing and Gold are the solid ones.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is they feel Astonishing and Gold are definitely, they feel like more classic X-Men titles. Yeah. Again, it's not the second coming of Claremont, but they feel they're decent runs not to be ashamed of. And I actually think Blue is fine, even though I don't like the kids. I actually think the book is fine. But they're not catching the world on fire, right? Yeah. This isn't the Rebirth stuff. This isn't Superior Spider-Man.
Well, take Soul, for example, right?
Yeah.
You have him over at DC, and he's doing Swamp Thing. He took over after Snyder.
Yeah.
And his Swamp Thing run is amazing.
I mean, it did well.
It wasn't as strong, I guess, as the beginning with Scott Snyder stuff, but it was still really good going, you know, following what Snyder had done. And then when he transferred over to Marvel, everyone's like, oh, he's going to be doing this and this and this. And there was this big excitement. And then it was like, eh.
Well, I've seen a few people go from Marvel and DC to Marvel. Like Sam Humphries, he went to Marvel for a couple of years, and it was like, well, I mean, I guess that one Star-Lord series was okay. And then he's on DC, and he's like, whoa, Green Lanterns is really good. Now he's taking over Nightwing, and Nightwing, Tim Seeley, the writer, him and Sam Humphries are flip-flopping. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I want to see what this guy could do on Nightwing. And I feel like a lot of times when they go from you know, there's been many instances where they go from DC to Marvel. You know, Brubaker did good at Marvel, but I still like his DC stuff better. Jason Aaron may be the one guy that he went from DC to Marvel and exploded it at Marvel. It doesn't happen as often as I think the other way does. So having read those X-Men titles, and I kind of felt like, yeah, okay, this feels right. You know, this feels good. Having gone through those first few weeks of the Legacy titles, again, I'm like, you know what? On the art level, which is, you know, a big complaint about Marvel in the last couple of years has been the art. The art I find is decent to good on all these titles. Okay. There was nothing that felt wrong art-wise. I tried to read the new Generation X book. Ugh. Holy fuck. That is unreadable. The art is so wrong for the title. I think it's an interesting art style, but it does not fit the book at all. I've complained about Avengers. I've complained about a number of other Marvel books. So the art is just wildly what's the word I'm looking for?
The style of the art does not fit the characters or the title.
No. So all these books, the art felt right, which even if the art's not amazing, at least it's like, okay, this feels right.
You can look at this.
This is good. This is good. Yeah. Because there's a few Marvel books I've tried to read where I couldn't even look at the art. I wasn't wowed by what I read. I'm going to go through and try to read, you know, all of them. And we are going to do, by the way, at least an October Legacy roundup, probably then November, December as well, for all the first issues. Have to read some Gwenpool, Brock.
Keep talking Gwenpool.
That means I have to read Gwenpool.
Keep talking Gwenpool. It's coming.
So
awaken, Higgins.
Yeah, I feel like there's the potential for the right path. But, you know, I'm looking at the cover art for the third issues and sixth issue for the double shipping stuff. And I'm looking at the solicitations and, you know, again, that December, there's not a lot to be excited about. The Spider-Man Venom crossover looks cool. There's a couple things, but again, Marvel fans, if you want these books, you really got to go out day one and buy them, and you really got to let your shops know you want to get them ongoing. You have really got to sub to them.
And get them.
You actually, yeah, because don't just buy the lenticular and walk out, and you know, tell them, hey, I'm really excited for this actual comic, and I will buy the next issue, because I don't see a ton of reasons to increase my orders except for a handful of books, and you know, yes, after a year, Supergirl and Superwoman and Blue Beetle and Cyborg and New Superman, the sales are single digit, mostly sub only. They're not very good, all right? But it took at least 6 months to get to that level.
I finally told you, like, what, this week, just I'm done with Superwoman.
Yeah, and then a year to be basically sub only, 12 to 24, or 12 to 18 issues or so, because Cyborg double shipped for a while. It could be 1 month for Legacy for it to just be right back to sub only for a lot of these titles. So,
well, and I mean, I think that's what people are used to from Marvel. They're used to, they're doing this big push. All right, I'll join for a minute. But even then, we saw less and less people going back to that.
Oh, everyone has been worse than the previous,
you know,
by far. So, yeah.
So, you know, I think that, I mean, they shot themselves in the foot with all the promotion, all these gimmicks and all this stuff. I mean, people just aren't, and they're not engaging the fans like DC is. They're not trying to get people excited about these things. And
well, again, they are to a degree, but various social media, you know, some people are going to push this stuff more than others. So
it always takes sort of the right person with the right message to really take off online. And like everything, I'm hoping that when we do the roundup, there will be a handful of titles where we're like, holy crap, everybody should be buying this one, because that's what we want.
Iron Fist, I've heard the current series is really good. People really like it. I read the first issue, and it was just nothing.
I read a handful of issues. It's okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, cool. If this really did get really good, I'm very excited, because Sabretooth is going to be, you know, he's in the new Iron Fist book, and you know, and they're going back to that classic team up or classic fight, and I'm really curious to see what they're going to do. I'm very hopeful for Captain America. I'm very hopeful for Avengers. You know, there's Old Man Logan should continue to be good.
I've been enjoying. Was it Bryson?
Yeah, Bryson. Yeah,
Bryson. I mean, his run after Lemire has been good.
Yeah,
I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, I don't know what their plans is for Riri Williams, but
your last issue didn't really sell too many.
Of what?
Of Old Man Logan.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, but I don't know what's up with Iron Man, or I don't know what's with Riri. But I'm hoping Tony comes back quickly and reclaims the man. You know, I'm assuming you still give her own thing.
I think the thing is Riri is a decent example of the gimmick, right? It's like, okay, we're going to throw in this title, and everyone's like, why don't you just call it Ironheart?
Well, I think they should just.
Fine, that's what it will turn out to be in the long run.
No, I know, but it's like.
I think they should just have her as a supporting character in the main book, which is totally fine. I think it was a bit premature to rush her into her own title with one appearance or two appearances prior. You know, the success rate at Marvel for that has not been high recently. So, all right, let's move on. We got a couple of books we want to talk about. We talked about Metal, but first I want to talk about the Oz Effect. First issue of.
Do you want me to grab it?
Don't have to.
Right.
No, there's not a ton to say about it. Again, spoilers. But the 5-part Action Comics little miniseries. Yeah.
Okay.
Coming up called Oz Effect. This is sort of the third part of the Rebirth sort of big story arc. You had the original one-shot. You had the Button kind of at that 1-year anniversary. And now we have the Oz Effect, which is kind of given us the next chapter in one of the big mysteries of Rebirth, and that's the identity of Mr. Oz, a cloaked character who's been following Superman and maybe doing good, maybe doing bad. We don't really know yet. And even though everyone pretty much, kind of like Phoenix, everyone kind of knew who it was before it was coming, at least good to get some sort of official confirmation. And it is apparently Jor-El, Superman's dad, the original, his father from Krypton before it blew up. Obviously we're just one issue in, second issue's out next week, so we don't, I'm sure there's going to be more to it. It's interesting. The arc following Oz Effect, I think, is going to be just as important, even though it's not part of the Oz Effect. But they're bringing Booster Gold back. Yes! I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see it, but yes.
So Superman tracks down Booster Gold, and they're going to go back in time to when Krypton exploded and try to figure out what the hell happened. So I'm almost more excited for that than the Oz Effect at this point.
They're doing a very good job of following up. Like the Button followed up with like the Flash immediately with Thawne and that stuff, and it amazes me how much the follow up arcs are just like, you should just keep reading it because it.
That's the best thing to do, right? Just keep following that thread. So I mean, I think it's, at least at the time being, I think it's really him. I don't see why. I mean, they talk about the reveal, unless those solicitations just total bullshit. There was like another Kryptonian who I guess at one point had taken on like Jor-El's face, and there was like some weird villain, and I don't remember the guy's name, but it was like Zor-El. It was like a reverse on Mr. Oz. So I wonder if that could end up being the real person. That's a theory a lot of people are throwing around. But the bigger part of the Oz Effect has been leading up to this point where he's been one by one abducting these characters, and we don't really know why. He abducted Tim Drake, who's coming back pretty soon. Doomsday. Did he abduct Stephanie Brown? So there's maybe like one other character.
No. But you're right, there was one more, but it wasn't Stephanie. It was...
Well, she went in and she found Robin, and then she took off.
Didn't he take Zod?
Did he take Zod? I don't remember. He took a few people.
Yeah, he took a few. He has a number of people already.
Well, and again, the question here is,
why?
Why?
They put stuff in their butts.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's what you do.
I suppose that's possible. We're gonna shift here very briefly because we've been joined. Let me turn your microphone on. We've been joined by our good friend Trip. Trip, hello.
Hey guys,
how are you?
Doing all right.
You were on this podcast once a long time ago, right?
I think I was here. 2 years ago.
It's
just
quite a while
I
ago.
School, I think because I knew Tuesday nights I would be in class, so I would never come on a Tuesday night ever again.
Brock threatened that you may swing by, and we're an hour into recording, but glad you could join us.
I see that. Thank you. There's still a microphone sitting here for me.
We kept it warm.
Hoping there wouldn't be one.
We kept it warm for you.
Yeah.
Are you reading Metal? Are you reading Oz Effect? Should we
I'm getting Metal. I have not read it yet. I'm a little bit behind right now.
Do you want us to skip spoilers then?
No, you go
for
ahead.
number two?
I'm okay with it. Go for it.
Okay. Well, there's not too much to spoil. We just talked Oz Effect, which was the big Superman crossover.
I will say this about Oz Effect. It reminded me a lot of the Ares plot from the Wonder Woman movie.
In what way?
In the way I gave them a choice. They gave in to the darker impulses.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I was gonna say, I didn't remember him putting stuff in people's butts. That would have been a different movie.
Shoving shit in people's butts.
What, aliens, man?
Yeah. Missed something here.
Yeah, no.
Aliens.
Jor-El or Mr. Oz or whatever we're going to call him now. He did threaten. Did not threaten. He influenced many people across the world all at the same time, and they sort of all gave into their base anger and fear, and it caused all this havoc all at the same time. And Superman was going around trying to stop everything at the same time, and that's sort of led to him coming out and revealing himself who he is to Superman. So, yeah, well, Super goes. I'm excited. Again, can't pass up the shiny lenticular covers. We went a little bit high on them. I think it's went a little more than I expected, but whatever. I'm sure they'll sell.
I love them.
Oh, yeah. There's so many shiny covers. Metal's got shiny covers. Oz Effect. Legacy's going to have that lenticular. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. But Metal number 2. Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo book. There's not a ton to spoil, I feel.
No.
We're still very much in the setup phase. And with Red Death coming out this week, the first of the one-shots.
Which you should probably pick up as soon as possible because...
Well, I do want to kind of restate what Scott Snyder said on his own Twitter recently was that without these one-shots, Metal was going to be like a 10 or 12 issue series. Basically, they're all very important. He's overseeing them all. The creative teams of the regular titles that they're supposed to reference are working on them in some faction and in some regard. I mean, so Joshua Williamson's doing the Flash issue.
Yeah. And I already read it right before the podcast, and I liked it a lot.
Overachiever.
Yeah, it's going to kind of give you the real backstory of these characters. Yeah. So if you just want the ride, you could just read Metal, but we are treating the one-shots as basically the 0.5 issues of Metal. Don't
taint them with that.
They're pretty important.
Don't taint them with that.
The way I kind of
can you explain the one shots to me? Seeing them a little bit behind here. Are they going to take a break in Metal and then release these? No. So what they're doing is they're coming out with there's I think 7 one shots, 7 or 8 one shots. They're all about the main characters from the book, as well as there's a Batman Lost one shot and a Hawkman Found one shot. And the Lost and Found are actually both written by Snyder, and he has like co-writers, but he's physically writing those issues as well. The other one shots deal with the characters and their sort of the worlds they come from, their history. So it's not like a skip month filler. It's essential to the story.
No, I believe Lost and Found come out during a skip month towards the end of the book.
Okay.
And then the crossovers, there's going to be no more than 1 a week. And those crossovers are little 4-part story arcs that are like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's those 4 are a cohesive story. The other 4 are. And this isn't a Red Skies bullshit crossover. That Teen Titans and that Nightwing crossover are full on crossovers.
Yeah, no, so the last week was Titans 12.
Teen Titans
12? Yeah. Or was it 13?
I remember. It's out there, whatever it is. And then Nightwing's out this week.
And then at the end of that, Nightwing shows up.
Okay.
So then you're going to the Nightwing book for the next tie-in.
And then it's Green Arrow and Suicide Squad.
So it's not just random one-shots that you tried to piece together. It actually seems like there's a cohesive story.
It is a linear story within those tie-ins.
Yeah. And then
so for this one shot specifically, I would equate it to some of the one shots they did during like the Sinestro Corps.
Yeah.
Where it gives you a lot of insight
Those
into...
are really good.
And very important.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to pick up the Red Death one.
Gotcha. It's Flash, too. I mean,
it's
of
Flash.
course you're going
to. Of course.
The second one, Bat Out of Hell, the second crossover, is all is Justice League and Justice League supporting characters, and it's basically the Justice League versus the Dark Knights, which is going to be just a balls to the wall 4-part, just beating the hell out of each other for 4 issues. So again, you may get the fight scene in a couple pages with a Metal, but it's like here's the real fight scene, right? So, but I mean, so they're straight up bringing in stuff from Final Crisis. They're bringing, which we already knew some of this, but they are very much bringing in Final Crisis. They're bringing in Darkseid War.
Well, what I thought was great was all the tie-ins to Snyder's run on Batman, with the Court of Owls and the Diasium and the
back when he was
stuff he made to
when Gordon was So this has been Snyder's thing. He said all these things were not just things I did for no reason. The Court of Owls arc to Death in the Family to I'm sorry, not Death of the Family, to
Death of the Family.
No, the second Joker arc he did, Endgame.
Oh, Endgame, yes.
To Endgame, to the stuff, his final arc where Gordon was Batman. To this, with the Court of Owls, there is a linear path here. It's not it's not like you have to have read the rest, but it does. They all do connect to this story.
It's what Johns has done for a long time, especially what he did with Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Because Johns dropped Oz on us back in Superman.
Yeah, during the New 52. Yep.
During New 52.
Yep.
And then now he's, he gave us that DC Rebirth, and now we're getting little bits off of John's influence through the Button and through Oz effects. So I like that they have these stories that span, a longer period of time, but you don't necessarily have had to have read them to jump in at that point.
Yeah.
But it does create an interesting sort of look back which is really nice. Like that one issue of Metal made me instantly go, I kind of want to go reread all of Snyder's Batman run now.
Because I remember these like medals, like the Dionysium and everything. But like I don't like. It's like, oh yeah, it was a thing. But I'm like, oh, now I actually like want to reread this and remember like, oh, this was kind of a big deal.
Well, and the thing is Snyder had kind of established something like not the medals per se, but he did this with Swamp Thing in changing really how we viewed
the gray,
the green, and the red, and the rot, and there's the gray, and like he added this dynamic to Swamp Thing that added a whole new layer to those type of characters in the DC universe.
I know. Crap, I had something else to add to that. What was I going to say? I don't remember. Oh, the last page, or the second to last page, I guess, with Barbados, the Bat God, bringing in the Dark Knights. That's going to be one of the best pages in recent memory. That is just an awesome little splash page.
The end of page 1 to that page? Or the end of the first issue with Daniel coming in?
Oh, I mean, well, that's more personal. No, just like this evil Bat God summoning all these evil Batmen. It's just like, oh, this is amazing.
Oh, I love the little Robins that were showing up right before that.
So you get a lot more of them in the teen. If you read Dark Knights or Metal #2, if you want to see more of the Batman who laughs and his little Michonne Robin brigade, definitely check out Teen Titans. Because they're
and I mean
big part of that.
You read it in that order, but Dark Knight's Metal #2, and then you read the tie-in issue.
Yeah, and then there's going to be the crossovers and everything. So
yeah, I am super stoked. Like, I mean, if we're going to be getting some Metal title every week for a while, I'm happy.
Oh yeah. It's going to be you're going to get consistently like one thing a week. I think this week there's 2, but I believe normally you're going to get 1 a week. Is Toby in the back?
Yeah, he's in the back.
Toby. We got to talk about you and your butt real quick. We got to talk about you.
I really did miss a whole lot here, didn't I?
Well, no, maybe. So, for those who follow us on Twitter and on the Facebook group, you may have seen
we've had an excellent 2 days.
Yeah, it's been quite a rowdy couple days.
It's been longer than 2 days.
Yeah, last week.
The culmination.
It started with Bryce Cable.
So we've had some incredible art throughout the years of the Comic Conspiracy podcast. Obviously, my lovely wife Leanne, she recently did that piece. So we're in the process of getting that printed up, and people have asked about getting signed copies, and we're totally going to do that. So once I'm just trying to get things settled down.
We got our friend Lane who did it first.
Lane did it first. Yep. And we've had other fan art through the years of us, right?
Yes.
But Justin. Grosjean, I'm gonna.
We expect you to butcher his name.
Grosjean. I'm gonna say Grosjean.
Grosjean.
Not
what is
Grosjean.
What is he? A reverse Grosjean?
Grosjean. I'll say Grosjean.
How about just Justin G?
I miss Grosjean.
You were a big fan.
I was a huge Grosjean fan.
I still hope they bring Rick Sojourn at some point.
They're not going to.
It's never gonna happen.
I know, but that was my big thing.
Hey,
when, Marvel bought the.
Don't kill the happy man's hopes.
I know.
Okay,
he's the positive one.
I know.
They could make some nice omnibuses.
So Justin ended up doing this great piece of art that I missed. I didn't see it right away. It took me a little bit to see it, but we finally got tagged in and I saw it.
Well, it was funny when I originally saw it. I thought he just found some random piece of art of Cable that just happened to look like Bryce.
Yeah.
That's how I thought of it originally. And then I was like, well, that's kind of odd. He really does look like Bryce.
Yeah, no,
And I kind of like, all right, that's funny, but all right. And then I was like, wait. Now a one that looks just like Charlie shows up. So he can't be a coincidence anymore.
So he
does see this. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I did see that.
So he does a piece of art with Bryce as Cable,
yes.
And of course, because the war will never end, he then had to do one of Charlie as Cable, and this.
Okay,
these are great.
Can we just say Bryce is the young Cable and Charlie's just the older, wiser Cable?
Maybe he's got the scar and everything. I think Justin works in.
Wait, are you saying
he works in like advertising? I think.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying that Bryce is X-Men?
Maybe.
Well, his.
Instead of
to the best of my knowledge, he's not a professional comic book artist, but he's done. I went back and looked at his work.
Damn good.
Well, no, he's got some good panel work and word balloons, so he knows what he's doing, at least for sequential art stuff here.
I would say so.
And if you guys are familiar with art as a jock, someone had mentioned this in the Facebook group, which I had I made a similar comparison. I totally agree. He's kind of like a Jock Light. Like I love Jock. Sorry, like that's not a slam. Like his art reminds me a lot of Jock's kind of style. It's very sketchy. It's a really cool style that I think fits the stuff he's going for.
We just need some colors.
But of course, dude, some of Jock's best stuff is black and white.
I know, but still. So
as is the normal way, when this happens, people are like, "Well, he did art of Charlie and Bryce as their favorite character, Cable. So that means we have to have him do art of Ryan as his least favorite character of all time because that's just the way these things work."
You have to admit, his tease for this stuff was amazing.
So we get a little preview.
It took a turn. It was like, Bryce is Cable, Charlie is Cable. Yeah, we gotta do Ryan as Gwenpool.
So we get a little
watching this, and like immediately after he did those arts, the trolls came out like immediately being like you should do Ryan as Gwenpool, and he just kind of went, maybe I will.
So I do have to admit it, he did try to fake us out because he basically was copying the Tom King,
the Miracle
Mitch
Man,
Gerdas, Miracle Man,
yeah.
The Dark Side Is panels. Yeah. But of course, the big fake out is, I'm not Miracle Man or anything like that. I'm Gwenpool. So, me in some nice little bathing suit,
little hair stubble on your leg,
Wonder Woman trunks. Of course, the selfie stick and everything. So, thank you.
Everything you love in life.
Thank you, Justin.
He nailed your voice perfectly. I could just imagine you saying, "Fuck me."
The panel of me crying may have been a little too much.
That was just
smiling and crying. Maybe
that was eating your cake too.
Like this isn't just a page. Like, this is a full on like
the start of you becoming a supervillain.
This is just like a full on like 3-page comic that he did. It was pretty incredible. Now of course.
The punchline and everything else just was so perfect.
Yeah.
Now, of course, next up is Toby. Now, the great thing about Toby is his love of Nightwing and his love of Dick. And so, the great thing, if you're a Nightwing fan, you're aware of the recent interest in Nightwing's posterior that has become basically a meme in recent years.
Are we talking about acrobat booty?
We don't know for sure
he has to have his room booty. He does all this shit, like bouncing around.
We don't know for sure where Justin's going to go with this. However,
we are all worried.
I would hope.
Maybe you guys are not. I am.
We all hope that
maybe this is actually he's going straight to Brock.
It could be.
It's just
it could
me
be.
in a Harley
I mean, we know Brock's going to be dressed up as Harley.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it's going to be worse than
I'm going to be calling you or Bryce
cleavage
Pudding.
and all this red chest hair and everything.
He's got a little more hair than Ryan does.
My beard will have 2 different colors.
There you go. But I'm pretty sure we're getting Nightwing booty Toby and Brock in a Harley bikini. So I feel like we started good and now we're just in like full on like
I'm jinxing myself, but
Rule
I feel
34
safe at this point.
No, you're not. You are now not safe.
No, we're in full on like Rule 34 comic conspiracy fan art here now. So,
here's the funny thing, because I got a message from one of my normal friends, and he was like, "Toby, please explain what the fuck is a Nightwing booty? Like, what are these people are talking about?" I was like, "Well, why don't you just ask them directly?"
Yeah, No, it's I mean, Grayson. The Grayson comic is where it existed before in like the Birds of Prey when Gail Simone was on it, and it popped up occasionally. I feel like the Grayson comic, Tim Seeley and Tom King really ran with that though, and Mikhail Hanine too, our artist that did our Harley cover. They ran with that like crazy, and it was pretty funny. The girls of Spiral, the girls of Spiral. Yeah. Really like Nightwing's booty. Yep. So,
he gets the most poon in the DC universe.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it scored Starfire, right? Can't go wrong with that.
He apparently got Harley, too.
I know. Well, we won't count that.
Thank God.
So, I'm sure we'll have an update in the next week or two from Justin. So,
I don't know.
Thank you, Justin.
He did a really good job teasing
maybe
that,
I just quit and leave, disappear before all of this hits.
Hey, if you guys want to see this, join the Comic Conspiracy and Geekbox Facebook group on
Justin
Facebook.
did.
Yeah.
He didn't have a Facebook account before.
Yeah.
He joined just to join
Very
the
smart.
conversation.
Very smart.
His art is amazing, though.
Yeah, he's good.
No matter what the subject is, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, if you guys are familiar with the artist Jock, go look him up. He's done a lot of covers. He's done a lot of work for DC and Image.
He's Witches was
Scott
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 Snyder.
Snyder. Yeah. Losers too. Yep. So actually, Mitchell, Brock's buddy Mitchell asked a question
Mitch.
here. We're going to move on to some questions. And he actually he had a question about something I wanted to cover tonight, so I figured I'd wait and ask this question. He said, do you guys have high hopes for HBO and Damon Lindelof's Watchmen series? I think the Leftover show was great, and this could also be great. So earlier, I believe it was earlier today, like just shortly prior to recording, Damon Lindelof tweeted a tease with some what is it called? The statue from Watchmen that Night Owl gets for like his what was it, from the book he wrote? Can't remember when they used it in the movie. So that sounds like pre-production on an HBO Damon Lindelof led Watchmen series is going to happen. The rumor is, a 12-issue series, 12 issues, 12 comics. This isn't like an ongoing thing. This is just like a miniseries. People have said from day one, if this is how you're going to do it, this is the way to do it. Let's see. I didn't hate the movie. I think it had its faults, but I overall enjoyed it. I think they did a good job. But, it's tough to compress Watchmen down to 2 hours. Damon Lindelof, I know people kind of hated after Lost. People now kind of love because of the Leftovers. So we'll see where he falls on this one. But if they do this, I'm 100% down. Yeah, I'm totally down. Anyone else? You guys?
Oh, I mean, it's already a given that I would at least check out all 12 episodes, and immediately kind of make up my mind at that point. But, I mean, as you said, I did not feel like the movie... I did not think the movie did anything badly. It did a very good translation of the comic overall. Mm-hmm. So, if they can do it even better in a longer, sort of drawn-out format, it's amazing. So...
I think I'm in the same vein as Charlie. I think that if they take the time and the effort and they give a well done up miniseries, I guess, or whatever they're calling them, I think it can be done really, really well. So
Matt says Dr. Manhattan is way too powerful for Superman. This comes up for the Doomsday Clock stuff. Do you think Superboy Prime should come back in Doomsday Clock?
No.
He's immune to reality warping. I am 100% down with Superboy Prime coming back. He should be back every month in every comic ever. Superboy Prime's the best character ever created.
Well, Johns does have a habit of bringing him back. So.
What if Superboy Prime and Dr. Manhattan fight at the very end and basically obliterate each other? Therefore, the Watchmen stuff never exists in the DC universe. It's gone forever. No one can ever touch it again. And Superboy Prime's gone as well. But you get 12 issues of Superboy Prime.
I could deal with that.
Okay. I hope that doesn't happen. I love Superboy Prime.
I could deal with that. Written by Johns?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll deal with it.
All right,
as long as it's not drawn by Romita Jr., I'll be good.
Here's a question for Toby. Because I'm sure he'll actually have an answer.
More disgust.
It's from Casey, our good friend Casey.
Hey, Casey.
It says, what director would you like to direct MCU film, Marvel Cinematic Universe film? And what material would you like to be interested in seeing, but nothing we've seen before? Something brand new, something original. Who do you want to see?
Well, I want to see Joe Carnahan, that's for sure.
Who's that?
He directed Smoking Aces and A-Team.
Okay.
I think he did Narc back in the day, before he was known, but I really, really like his work. I was going to say first choice for him would have been Punisher, but I'm really, really excited for what they're going to do on Netflix for him, too. So
something you haven't seen before, new character.
Yeah,
Darkhawk?
Oh, yeah.
Not with Joe Carnahan. Not with Joe Carnahan.
Get the crotch shot on that one?
Not with Joe Carnahan, but...
when I say
Nick
crotch
Fury.
What's
we've seen Nick Fury.
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking a solo
young Nick Fury movie with Joe, maybe.
What's the Aquaman guy? Didn't he do Fast and the Furious?
What Aquaman guy?
The guy doing
one?
Yeah,
he's the horror man. He's not the Fast and Furious man.
Is the Fast?
Justin Lin is the Fast and Furious.
What's he doing? Is he
He's
doing something?
Star Trek. He did the last Star Trek.
Yeah.
Who am I?
You're thinking about the horror guy.
Okay, no.
Because he went from Fast and Furious to do Aquaman.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, he's the horror dude with the puppets and shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Who loves Disney movies, by the way, which is really fucking genius. I really enjoy that guy. He loves Disney movies, makes horror movies. And
I thought one of the Fast and the Furious guys was going over to do a superhero movie. No? Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, Justin was the main Fast and Furious guy, and he went over to do Star Trek.
Okay. Yeah. No, I knew that.
He was rumored to do one before Star Trek.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Okay. Maybe
it's quite possible because he was attached to just about any superhero franchise for a while there.
Makes sense.
Can Patty Jenkins go over, or is it Patty or
Patty Jenkins?
Patty Jenkins?
Yeah.
Can she go over and do She-Hulk?
No. What? No. Fuck out of here.
No for the She-Hulk?
No. She's a DC. Keep your hands off.
The only good thing at DC right now.
Which director would I like to see do something?
No. I said no.
You don't get to say.
I sure do.
No, you don't.
Well, anyways, Joel Carnahan for something R-rated, something good and dark, but not what's it called?
Punisher.
No. I will love Punisher, but that doesn't
Not
count because they're already going to do it. Yeah, but not a kids one.
Yeah, I don't know if what kind of more darker.
Are there any characters left from the MCU that they haven't used yet?
That's what I was going to say.
Because Moon Knight is very strongly rumored to be in that Netflix series.
Really?
Yeah, the Punisher one.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not. Well, I mean, that stuff wasn't in the MCU. I mean, that stuff is basically all separate now.
Yeah,
I don't even know
all the
that
vigilante
counts,
stuff
but-
is now a separate universe almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff I like the best.
Except for the
Joel Carnahan in the TV universe.
except for the big, I mean, X-Men and FF and Spider-Man and stuff they don't really have. There's not.
I could be wrong. I think he even directed the pilot for Blacklist too. I could be wrong about that though. Yeah.
This is our good friend Problematic Cartoon. Says he got depressed by some bad comic stuff this weekend.
What? How do you get depressed by Ryan's Gwenpool comic?
Don't follow trolls. Just don't follow trolls. Don't listen to anyone that argues with Dan Slott, and you'll be fine. You can listen to Dan Slott. I mean, well, technically, I've argued with him, so but yeah, you probably shouldn't listen to me either. But
he's a nice guy. He sent those signed copies for you.
Says, can everyone please share one thing they love about comic books? And I mean, we share all sorts of stuff we love about comic book here. But Trip, I'm going to throw you on the spot here. You're our guest.
Welcome to the bus.
Just something you love about comic books. Let's make a Problematic Cartoon on Twitter here happy. Yeah,
Goodness.
Anything, doesn't matter. Anyone could jump in really, but I just wanted to put Trip on the spot.
See, it would be happy, but well, I love Invincible, but its ending's that sad, so it's hard for me to say exactly what.
Well, I would think
in general, to me, the key point about Invincible, in general, and that book in general, is comics can evolve.
Yeah,
and characters can evolve. It's just unfortunately the big two they don't really.
I would think.
So I think that independent books sometimes can show some of that evolution that people always complain. There's
so Invincible is more like a manga then.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, he's gone from being 16-year-old to married with
adult,
a kid and an adult. And
it's very manga-like.
I would actually think Invincible ending, as long as they end it well and it wraps up its story, that's a great thing because it doesn't happen very often in comics where they actually get a
other than the Vertigo, right? The golden age of Vertigo, right? Which always had a beginning, middle, and end. That doesn't seem to happen a lot.
Why Last Man is so great, and then you cry at the end.
Yeah. I mean, it could be happy and sad, but no, a good comic that has a very long run and wraps up well is
with a creative team that's been together for over 100 and some odd issues. Can't beat it.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 150 or something by the time it's done, right?
100. Something around there. No, he's not even getting to 150. He's ending like at 145 or 6 or something strange number. And Otley's been on it for 100 and would have been 130 some odd issues. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the things I enjoy is you get that issue that you've been like waiting for to read, and you finally sit down and you spend that time just in it. That's your focus.
Yeah,
like there's nothing else going on. You're just reading that issue and it delivers. I like that feeling.
That's good.
That's a good feeling.
A good comic book's a good feeling.
I get that feeling every month when I read Invincible.
My Thursday and sometimes my Sunday ritual is I get up, I grab the books. It not always tend to be the books from that week. I usually am kind of always leapfrogging and trying to play catch up and stuff. However, I think I just have last week's books to read, so this week I should actually be caught up. It does happen occasionally. I basically grab a week's worth of books to read, sit down with a big cup of coffee, a big bowl of cereal, and just sit there and I read.
I believe you ordered the large cappuccino.
Oh, yeah. Couple cups of coffee. And to me, like, I like reading in the store. I power through the stuff. I flip through it quick. I read a little bit here and there. I try to, read, through the day. I mean, I read a lot of comics. But I like having a kind of a reading ritual. A lot of people read at night, and I cannot read at night.
I can't either.
I fall asleep immediately.
Yeah. I usually it helps me fall asleep, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, if I'm tired,
because you've classically conditioned yourself to when you read, you fall asleep.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I've always done it. I watch an anime, or I read
Pavlov's dog,
or I read 3 pages or 3 panels of a comic book, and I pass out. It just happens.
Oh man, this
TV
shows.
Yeah, without fail. So reading in the morning, it's like comics have become like my morning newspaper. Right? Like, I can just find out what happened in the world.
That's the only thing good to read in the newspaper is the funnies.
Yeah, just finding out what happens in Gotham, not Washington D.C.
Doing this adulting thing really well.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm
haven't figured out.
I love all the political stuff I'm getting from Green Arrow. Like it's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, whether you're you can talk about books online, you can argue with people and blah blah blah, but having that sort of like just that ritual, we're just relaxing, it's quiet, and just trying to read through some stuff, and I really do like that. And again, it doesn't happen every Thursday and every Sunday. Usually we have stuff going on. So, but I do most Thursdays and Sundays. That's kind of my morning ritual, and I love it. Charlie and Toby, you got anything?
For me, what it really kind of comes down to is I've been reading comics long enough that occasionally you kind of have that one book that just like, how many times did I talk about Velvet on the podcast and John's is Green Lantern? Like when you kind of hit that arc just perfectly, and it almost kind of reminds you why you love comics so much.
If you say that's Invincible, I swear.
I'm not going to.
Like, to me, that is
I was going to say John,
by far the best feeling for me is when you just kind of almost rekindle your own love for comic books through what you're reading.
I was going to say something in a similar way, and I still like to be surprised. And it still happens to this day where one comic will just make you go, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then I usually go call Charlie and Ryan after and tell them about the holy shit moment, and then they go, yeah, I've read the fucking comic too.
Thanks. Yeah, we read that 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is this, on the day it's released, or is it later?
Oh, for me, it's very late. Yeah. It's like probably 3 years after it's been released. I'm like, yeah, man, this happened. They're like, no, it happened 3 years ago.
In fact, we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, you were there.
I had a similar experience with Metal #1 when it came out, because it obviously got spoiled prior, and sometimes spoilers are like, it kind of takes a sell out. But actually reading through the issue, you get to the end, you're like, wow, no, the build-up is really good. Even though I knew what was coming, it's still, sometimes that actually does happen. So. Yeah. All right, we are going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you guys for the questions. We got a bunch more, but
you just don't want to answer them.
I'm done with 2-hour-long podcasts.
Quick
we
question.
Can't do it anymore. What's up?
Random picks?
You can go fuck yourself. So this is why we don't have a 2-hour-long podcast. So
just go back to the question.
Trip.
Comic that you really love.
Because you're a special guest, and I'm sure you're going to tell us about the book you just told us about, but we like to have our random picks of the week. Why don't you randomly pick a comic that you want to suggest to the audience? And I'm sure Invincible is the comic you're going to suggest. You might as well. Oh, you could actually do anything.
I mean, you know my reading list, so it's not very exciting, right? It's either going to be something from Kirkman, Invincible, or Savage Dragon, right? Which I think are, Savage Dragon is as good as it's been the last 3, 4, 5 issues. Yes,
what's up with the porn cover? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, exactly. What's up with the porn cover? What's up with the nudity? I don't know why.
What's up with the Trump cover?
He made the left turn, but
he's punching Trump, so at least, or no, Trump's yelling at him, or like. Yeah.
No, get those aliens.
Yeah, it's not a good Trump cover.
Yeah.
So.
Unfortunately, I don't have much. My reading list is a bit smaller, so
that's all right.
Pretty much the only thing I'm up on right now is The Flash and Amazing Spider-Man. The only 2 books I'm current on right now.
Okay.
Invincible. I'm sure I'll get to the most recent issue. And
pitch Invincible to the fine readers.
You can't do that with only 5 issues left. I would actually say if I'm going to make a random pick, it's going to be Copperhead.
Okay.
Jay Ferber and whoever the artist is right now. I can't remember his name because the guy
new volume just came back.
Huh?
New volume just started, right?
I think
for a while.
The most recent trade will be volume 3.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like a space cop, it's kind of a detective series on an alien world. It's really
Image comic.
Yeah, an Image comic. I've liked Ferber's books. Dynamo 5. I loved Dynamo 5 when he was doing that.
Isn't that where Invincible? What's that?
That's tied to Invincible.
Yeah, Isn't that where he first appeared? It was like a backup strip or something, right?
No, Dynamo 5 came after Invincible.
Him. Oh, what am I thinking of?
Invincible.
Oh, I think of Noble Causes.
Noble Causes, maybe he may have been. He was doing Noble Causes at the time.
Yeah, he appeared in Invincible was like a ad or maybe, a backup or something in it. Yeah, that was the book I was thinking of.
So yeah, I would go with Copperhead. Actually, I do like that book. The artist is now working at DC a lot. What's his name? Scott. He's been doing some Action Comics or Superman books. Galuski,
yeah,
something like that.
I know his name.
He was the original artist, and he was fantastic.
Okay, yeah.
They've changed artists. He's still doing the covers, but the new artist is just as good. But it's a fun little kind of, like I said, some sort of PI cop, kind of space-based cop story.
Yeah,
really good.
Cool.
Yeah. I'd go with that.
I'm gonna. Again, my attempt to catch up on some titles. One of the books I could catch up with was X-Men Blue, which I was not a big fan of. The original, I liked the Bendis take on the young X-Men kids. I felt it kind of meandered around and went nowhere at the end. All New X-Men was trash start to end. So I was very wary going to X-Men Blue, although I was kind of excited for the new... see what they could do with these characters. And Cullen Bunn's one of those writers where I feel like he's kind of like Al Ewing to me, where it's like he's on a shitload of titles that never last and kind of people like him, but they never seem to really click and succeed. He has fans, obviously. I don't hate him in any way, shape, or form. I just feel like when I see his name in a book, I'm like, well, that's going to be canceled in 6 issues. So I was a little worried going in, and, this book really did have a lot going against it, but I actually enjoy it. What I think, and I know Bryce isn't a big fan of the Jean Grey comic, but I feel like of those X-Kids, Jean Grey is by far and away the most realized and best character that they've had in those titles. And her leading the team... I still like 2 issues back, so I've read the first, 7 or 8, I think, 7.
You got past the ninjas. I couldn't get past that.
I mean, I've enjoyed the arcs they've done. I've enjoyed the art. Is Art Adams doing those covers?
Art Adams
really good covers. If you passed on it because you hate the X-Kids, I'm right there with you. I totally understand. But if you're looking for a little X comic in your life... give it a shot. I think it's as good as you're going to get with those characters, short of that original Bendis run. I think had the kids gone away, Bendis's run would have been regarded as a great run for All New X-Men. But it just sort of kept going for no real reason. I know that's not like the most glowing review of the greatest comic of all time, but I do. But it is a book where I was not really excited for, and I'm glad I gave it a chance because I actually enjoyed it. So. That's the long and short way to say check out X-Men Blue. Toby, Charlie.
I'm going to go with the most recent issue of Amazing Spider-Man, actually. Because it was, let's see, that was issue number...
32?
32, yeah.
32. But it was a one-shot issue centering around Norman Osborn. It's very different than anything else they've done with that title recently. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. I enjoyed sort of the glimpse into Norman's current psyche that you get, and
having been gone and now back, we're kind of getting a little Osborn.
Yeah.
What
and the art was fantastic. I don't know that guy.
The art
I don't know him very well.
Yeah,
but
the art was good. It was really a very great. Sort of solid one shot story. It is not
in between
by
Eamon
any
and arcs, which is great.
And it was not by any measure really a Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
If you're picking that book up to read Spider-Man, you're picking up the wrong issue.
Correct.
But it was a very enjoyable sort of one-shot story.
Yeah. Are we ready for the fall of Parker? We're ready for Peter Parker to go back to be Peter Parker.
I'm very ready for Peter Parker to go back to being Peter Parker.
Because I did get to read the first Dan Slott issue, and I'll be curious what people think about the last page. I feel like some traditionalists may not like it, but I'm really excited to see what certain segments of the angry comic book internet community think of page 2. I think they'll be. I think people will
trolling
be.
Hard.
I think the right people will be mad.
Trolling
So,
hard.
Toby.
I'm fairly excited for tomorrow's Conan and Wonder Woman. I kind of flipped through it as I was in the back.
Yeah, Gail Simone and
the art looks fantastic. I don't know who the artist. I picked it up and flipped through it.
Yeah, the
I'm
artist
really
is.
excited about it. I wasn't thinking I was going to care. I honestly didn't think I was going to care. I just flipped through it and I'm like, all right, I'm picking this up. It just looks cool.
I'm gonna look up the artist. I can't remember who it is. I mean, it's a big artist. I'm completely blanking
Is
on
he actually
the.
Conan an artist?
I'm completely blanking on the artist right now.
Carrie Nord?
Oh no, I'm Simon Lepresti.
Oh, it's Lepresti?
Yep.
It looks like really good Lepresti, though.
Yeah,
I haven't seen him doing
well,
that much detail work in a long time.
I was gonna say because he's not rushed doing fucking monthly books.
I actually like his art. I didn't expect that. I usually.
I'm sorry. Did I say Simon Lepresti? Aaron Lepresti. Simon.
That's who was
yeah.
thinking it. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Completely.
I like Aaron Lepresti a lot.
So
I
the last
just
name.
didn't expect that much detail out of him.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive.
Yep.
And it's nice having Simone actually writing Wonder Woman.
Well, writing something. She has not. She's doing cleaning for Vertigo, but like whatever. I mean,
Is that still going?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's done or it's about to be done, but yeah, there's not. She's not doing much these days. I don't know.
After that Fallout,
I don't know what's going on.
my pick.
Yeah.
Let's say I've been really digging The Beauty. Kind of in the same vein of you. I picked up the first issue. I was like, image title.
Yeah.
I picked up the first issue. Was kind of about it, but then I started picking it up in trade, and the third one came out a few weeks ago. And I really enjoy it. The first trade kind of sets up.
It's kind of a horror. I haven't read it.
Basically, it's about The Beauty is basically the nickname for a venereal disease that people pass in between each other, but it doesn't. It makes you like the peak of beauty. So if you're ugly, it turns you into this gorgeous creature or whatever.
Right.
But the downside is it kills you.
Yeah.
So and it's interesting to see how people in this world are, interacting with each other because there's this thing out there. Like, how is dating? And it's not done in like, it's from the perspective of more of a told through the first story arc and the first trade and the third trade bring it in through this female detective who ended up getting the beauty and is on this beauty task force because there's people being murdered. The second volume is kind of a filler volume of like shortish stories about these people who've gotten beauty. So, but I've really enjoyed it. It's an interesting book to kind of make you think about things in a different way. So,
cool.
That's my pick.
All right, we are going to go ahead and
now end it.
We are,
and you can thank Patreon because they made you do it.
I know. Damn you guys. Damn you, Julian Titus at the Nerdzilla Pants podcast at pixelbit.com.
He has no pants.
Yeah, maybe Toby will have no pants as Nightwing.
Oh, no pants, Nightwing.
Ryan Hess has Blowhards, which is a video game podcast. It's at blowhards.libsyn.com.
That is his art for that is intense.
Oh, yeah. Jody Lawson is Canon, the Triad Comics Anthology at triadcomicstudio.com. We also want to thank our good friends of No Place, Sam Che, Talon Bray, Craig Anderson, Joe Duff, and Mario Miranda. We're going to pimp his friend's shop one more time. This Geeky Teas and Games at Magnolia Boulevard in Burbank, California, with you can play some board games.
There's cats, right?
Have a game room or, rescue a cat, apparently.
Oh, yeah, cat rescue.
That's crazy. Cats and comic books.
Okay.
They don't always work together, but in this case they do. It's Comic Conspiracy Podcast.
Cat Cafe in Tokyo, can it?
We should have you on for like our like once a decade manga podcast, and I want to hear like your Japan stories.
This guy's awesome. He sent me.
I would have no idea about manga, man.
No, but you can tell us awesome Japanese stuff.
Japanese mad love.
Nice,
awesome,
nice. Yeah, you've been Nakabra. You go all those crazy Japanese places. We're going. The plan is 2020.
2020.
That's our goal. Post Olympics.
Post Olympics is probably a good idea.
But to go for the opening, or to go a couple months after the opening of Super Nintendo World in Japan, that's our goal. Toby, you want to go? Let's do it.
Okay, I love how he starts out the podcast not like a man-child, but ends it as a complete man-child.
Yeah.
Apparently so.
Oh, man, I'm so ready. Anyway, theComicConspiracyPodcast.com, Geekbox.net, and iTunes. That's where you can go to find all our previous episodes. Rate and review us on iTunes. It helps other people find us. The Comicspiracy at Geekbox.net, or that contact form at Geekbox.net is where you can send us some long-form questions. Patreon.com/comicconspiracies, where you can go to kick us $1 or more, or if you kick us a bunch of bucks, we read your name, and if you kick us $5, we also read your name just once a month, not every episode.
And as long as you keep kicking us some bucks, we'll keep giving you random picks.
Yeah. Digital, so stop giving us money. Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. That's where you can go buy all your digital comics, including a bunch of Batman and Harley Quinn comics on sale for Batman Day this weekend. So make sure you check that out while they're still on sale. ConspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's blog and video pull list. Charlie has Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension. That's his Doctor Who podcasts. And my wife Leanne has her Etsy store at Etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. Just search Leanne Hill. I'm sure it'll pop up. I'm Ryan Higgins. Ryan, that's me. I'm on Twitter. That's still me. Brock is Brock Sager on Twitter. Bryce is Larson Bryce. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. The store is Comics Con Store.
Have you tried to talk to Ryan Higgins about getting your handle?
No, I don't care about that guy. Fuck that guy. in his giraffe avatar. Geekbox Comedy Button, Good Job Right Now, Talk Podcasts, and Manga Machinations. Those are other podcasts on our network. Check those guys out as well.
Dress up as Gwenpool and go beat his ass.
No, thank you. Thank you guys very much. We'll catch you next week.